We all have our rules for coaching, and whether you've thought about them or not, you definitely have a set of beliefs about the right way to teach things. You might have 20 rules, you might have one, but every coach needs to stop and examine what we believe to be true. Some of our rules need to die, some we need to keep, others we got to update with new information. And today, we're going to figure out what that looks like for our Savi system.
The best coaches are constantly reflecting and refining how they coach and what they coach, because some things feel really good in the offseason, but not so great in season. I'd recommend having a formal system for review, but Tyler and I are going to do it live here on the Hours. We'll look at 5 rules in 4 areas of coaching: defense, offense, shooting, and then we'll break down the art of coaching. For each one, we're going to do a keep, combine, and kill, and nothing is off limits.
Welcome to the Hours. I'm Tyler Coston. This is Mark Cascio, and together we run Savi Coaching. We're on a mission to revolutionize the way the game is taught and played. Each week, we'll break down the stuff that actually moves the needle: practice design, shot selection, defensive principles, player development, you name it, and we'll talk about it.
And before we get going, check right now and see if you're subscribed. If you're not, please hit the button. It's free. It only takes a second, and it helps us continue to share free content and improve the podcast every week. We appreciate you.
Let's get into the episode.
All right, what's going to be fun about this is we are not me doing this alone. It's my pleasure to introduce Mike Carlson, his Savi's new director of player development, and he's in it with us today. He's going to be hearing some of these rules for the first time with fresh eyes. And after playing for years overseas and working with pro players, he is going to not only give us feedback, but I'm also excited, Mike, we're going to hear your story that you teased recently about the biggest shot you hit in your first pro game in Spain. So I'm excited. We're going to get to that later as we get to know you better. And before we get started, if you want our complete rules for offense, that's our RDS, race and drive and space system. You can either just click the link below in the description or email me, tyler@savicoach.com. Just put RDS, the letter R, the letter D, the letter S in the email, and we will make sure to get that for you. This is very exciting for me because Mike, if you'll remember, or maybe you don't remember this, the very first episode of The Hours was actually me and Mark just getting on and recording conversations live to figure out what did we agree on as Mark joined Savi, what did we disagree on, and we just kind of did that publicly, and that's how we built from, I don't know, Mark, how many people, I think we did it members only first, right?
Yeah, we did. It wasn't until maybe like 3 or 4 months later that we started actually publishing this to the masses.
Yeah, so we went from just a couple hundred people listening to it to now there are over 50,000 subscribers on YouTube alone, and it just continues to reach more and more coaches. So pumped up about that, and pumped to welcome Mike to the team. Official title, Director of Player Development. Mike, give a quick rundown about what you've been doing to serve players over the past couple of years, and what kind of led you to join the Savi team.
Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm thrilled to be here. I think what you guys have built at Savi is awesome, and I'm just happy to, 1, learn from you guys, and then 2, add a little bit of what I do to this community as well. So what I've been doing for the past couple of years after I retired from playing, but even like while I was still playing, was just using game film to help players. So that's been kind of part my research and then part business and actually helping guys.
Okay, before we get into defense, beliefs about defense, this is the principle that I want all of our coaches to take away. It's okay to kill beliefs. It's okay to update beliefs. It's okay to move on. And you should. And that's what this whole process is about. As you maybe steal some of our, coaching beliefs or coaching rules, great. As you update some of your coaching rules, great. If you kill some coaching rules, great. Mark first, what's one coaching rule or coaching belief that you've held in the past that you have killed, that you no longer believe to be true? And we'll come to you on that, Mike.
I'm going to go with one that I taught a lot and I was really passionate about, is that we should catch and sweep and swing and play in triple threat. There was probably a place for that with the system that we were running, but I mean, this was probably 20 years ago and the game has just changed so much that I think there's still a place to be, sweep, swing. It's probably when you're at a disadvantage or maybe you're neutral playing against pressure. But yeah, obviously, if you're any type of familiarity with what we teach at Savi or the Hours, we want to play off the catch and play with good pace in the half court.
I like it. How are you, Mike?
One thing that changed for me as a player, like throughout my career, was like I got to know exactly every other set that the team is running. Like every single thing. One, teams are running less sets, and then like two, it's more about personnel than, kind of where they want to go on the floor than it is like trying to memorize, okay, it's going to be a back screen, then it's going to be a handoff, then it's going to be, into Spain, whatever it's going to be. It's like that really doesn't matter. You just got to, KYP, know your personnel, and then get ready for their style of play, and you'll be good to go.
Those are both good. It's hard for me to select because I've killed so many beliefs in coaching. I'm just going to, I'll do this one. I think I've killed or at least de-emphasized massively the value and importance of a shot fake on the perimeter. Is there still a place for it? Yes. But I mean, I was at a place where I'm like, every single catch you fake, it's the best move in basketball. Every single catch. And I think I've de-emphasized its value significantly again with the game changing. Gosh, I got to do another one. Sorry, I'm breaking my own rules. I just don't teach dribble moves anymore. So I think it's just dribble moves are just a reaction to what the defense is taking away, as opposed to like, all right, set up your go-to dribble move. You got to have a go-to dribble move. I just think that it doesn't happen that much in today's game. Okay, I know you guys both want to talk about that, but I'm not going to allow it. Okay, here we go. We're going into defense. Defense first. Go ahead, Mark.
No. I was gonna say I actually agree with both of those. I actually got a DM from a member like 2 days ago. He says, "So, do we teach the shot fake or don't teach the shot fake?" And of course, the answer was it depends. But go ahead, let's keep it moving.
Okay, here's how I would answer that. I'd say don't teach the shot fake. Just teach the expectation to shoot. I think if you teach the expectation to shoot, a shot fake just becomes a shot aborted. It just becomes a read when you are expecting to shoot and the defense takes that away. It's just a shot aborted. I think that's the best shot fakes anyway.
Agreed, and I think that happens more outside the shell. I would say inside the shell, there is value in teaching the shot fake. Like if I
would say
get like
at the end of dribble.
yes,
I think there's more value in end of dribble moves as opposed to start of dribble moves.
Love it. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Beautiful. Okay, we're talking about defense. Here are 5 rules for defense. I'll say a rule. You guys can react. Say, yeah, keep that, Tyler. That's good. Oh, hey, maybe update it or combine it with this. Or Tyler, I think you just need to kill it. And here's why. And I'm open to all of those things. Okay, rule number 1 for defense is our shots. Savi, you believe in the opposite game. If we want it on offense, we don't want it on defense. I believe that offense is shot selection and defense is shot generation. Like, what do we allow or not allow the offense to take? So our shots would be rule number 1. We dictate what type of shots the offense is going to shoot. We can't keep them from shooting shots. They will always shoot shots. Instead, let's determine the type of shots we want them to take. And in our Savi shot scale, we would call these 5s. These would be anything off the dribble, contested, other than a 9 or a 7. A 9 being a wide open layup, a 7 being a wide open 3. Let's instead encourage and take everything in the mid-range. I don't hate middies. I don't think the mid-range is dead. I just think it's the skill set that the fewest players have. So let's force them to do this skill set that only the superstars have. Okay, our shots. Keep, combine, kill. What do you guys think?
Keep it 100%. 100%. If you make one midi in my face, do it again. That was my philosophy. Was when I played in Italy, we had to switch everything, like literally everything, every game. So what do you think? The end of the game was like, we're going to get Mike out of the paint and we're going to go at him one-on-one. I was like, all right, no threes, no layups, live in the mid-range. If you make one, go ahead, do it again. And we won a lot of games, so it worked.
Yeah, and I would even, here's where I might update it. Okay, what if you're playing a specific individual that is their bread and butter? Let's say you're playing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Do you adjust in that scenario or do you not? You stick to what you're good at? What are your thoughts on that, Mark?
Oh, I was hoping you'd ask Mike that one. That's a tough one. Honestly, I would default to he's probably not going to score his average if that's what he only gets. Because I think what makes SGA really good is that he is a 3-level scorer. So even if he's just scoring at 1 level, I'd be willing to live with that.
Okay, I like it. Second one, our spots. Again, this comes from, and Mark, you just got to see this presentation to all the athletes. Like, you can't take away everything. You can't take away everything on defense or your defense doesn't work. So our spots is, okay, what areas of the floor are we guarding? What areas of the floor are we going to give up? Like, where do we want the offense to play and catch, and where are we not? So specifically, we are armoring up catches at the rim and catches outside the 3. But we're going to give up catches anywhere in between that, including back doors. And, I think when you decide what you're going to defend determines how you're going to defend. So if you don't want to give up backdoor cuts, for example, Then off the ball, you're probably going to go a little bit more old school deny, high foot, high hand, back to the ball. But if you are willing to give up backdoor cuts, then I think you would embrace what I teach, which is an open stance chest to the ball next to the ball, because we don't care about backdoor cuts. We actually want the ball there as long as you have a defender on the wall. So that would be like an R spots scenario. Um, we'll go to Mike first on that one. Keep, kill it, combine, adjust it. What do you think?
I think it's good in theory, tough to do in practice. And especially with the back door, like I'm a big open stance guy. Like that's what I teach too. I think it's easier to kind of manipulate the game that way. The only thing is with the positioning, it's like if you're gonna try to take away the back door, like you need to put yourself on what I call the basket line. So the line between your guy and directly to the basket. So the only way he's going back door is he goes around you. You can see him, and there's no way they're going to pull that one off. And then the other thing is too, is like a catch further out is like a huge win. So if you can manipulate the game in such a way where like the offense is going to struggle, like great. But at a certain level, like players are so good, you just got to kind of try to contain.
Yeah, it's really good. I love how you said catch going away from the basket is huge. Just like they're going to catch at our spots, right? Going away from the basket. Now it takes away angles for feeding the post or getting to the next action. So it's just a great way to disrupt flow. As far as the open stance to the ball, I actually thought about doing this like many, many years ago, over 10 years ago. I was always a chin on shoulder and pinky up and high hand, high foot, like Tyler said. And I had this thought of, and I even remember presenting it to the staff of what if we went more open? We're still out here to contest passing lanes and force catches away from the basket, but we have better vision of the ball. We're squeezing the drive a little bit. And they were like, nah, that's stupid. So I was like, okay, it's probably stupid. So we didn't do it, but it was one of those things like in the back of my mind. I was like, you know what? I really think that this could be effective, but not a lot of people do it. So I didn't do it early. Now, obviously, we teach it in lock left. I love it. Better vision of the ball. I think the traditional high hand, high foot, it's really hard to see ball in man. I think it's easy to say as a coach, but as a player, as the ball's moving, as your player's moving, it becomes pretty difficult. So I love the vision of the ball. I love the fact that the ball handler sees more of your chest in the gap, but you're still there to contest some passing lanes.
For those of you watching on YouTube, there's a little visual here. You can see the gap defender to the left. That's what open stance actually looks like. Okay, next one, our pace. We want to make the offense play at our pace, and our pace in the lock rack is we want to speed them up. We want to always make the ball go. We don't allow them to be comfortable. We don't want to allow them to run their stuff. We don't want to allow them to do what I call periscope, but is just hold the ball and look to make a direct entry pass. One of the most common concerns we get in the lock left is, well, how do you guard the high post, or how do you guard a dominant post player? And the answer is not how we actually guard those things. The answer is don't let them make that pass by making them go, making the ball dribble. And that's from just a decision around being the attacking, aggressive, ball pressuring team.
Another evolution of my coaching. So we kind of started this one by saying, what's a belief that I killed? Like we're finding all these beliefs that I've killed over the years. One of which was what Mike said earlier is like, hey, let's identify these plays that this team runs and go through them. Well, somewhere along the way, our defense was so disruptive that as I was going back and watching film, I was like, you know what? Like, we're really not having to guard this stuff that we prepared for because we are pressuring. Like, we're disrupting their timing, we're disrupting their spacing. They can't run what they want to run. So it's just turning into drive and kick or one on one. So they're not actually running their offense. They're running what we want them to run. So, yeah, this would be a big keep for me.
Yeah, I think there's a big shift from sets that is happening. If you look at the success of Valencia, for example, or Paris last year, or their assistant coach who was now in second division Spain and just won the championship with Coruña, like it is, we're playing fast, we're getting them up, we're crashing the offensive glass, like we're keeping the game in kind of this gray area. And so, yeah, I think that tempo, I don't know if it's like how much you're going to be able to control it, just because I think every team is going to start doing that way. The more we get analytics, the more data we get, the more the shift happens. Like it's just the game of basketball is played super, super fast. So I like
first,
it. To answer the question, like it's just, yeah, this is the way that the game is going. Like we're playing fast, we're in your face, and deal with it.
well, first, I just love that you named a whole bunch of Euroleague teams that I'm unfamiliar with, and I'm glad that you're bringing that flavor to the podcast. I'm excited for you to bring more film clips of that into the Savi community. Very pumped about that. Okay, I also love that you said like many of the top coaches and teams are realizing this is the way the game is going. And when I first started teaching lock left 12 years ago, that was not the case. It was offense, slow it down, execute, run your stuff. And so it was like, okay, let's build a defense that will make us the outlier. And if we can play at this pace every day, we'll be better at this pace, which gives me the rule number 4, which is like play at our pattern. Right. So our pattern is what we are good at, but we're the outlier. Most teams don't do what we do. And so we're gonna have a competitive advantage by playing in such a way that most teams don't play, both offensively and defensively. I agree with what you're saying. I think many of the top teams are leaning into that. My perception, and Mark, I'd love your perception on this. I would say that, things trickle down. And I don't think that pace has yet trickled down to the older high school, middle school coach that's been doing it for 20 years. I don't think it's trickled down there yet. It will, but I don't think it has yet. What's your take on that, Mark?
Yeah, I would say it's trickling down. It's in the process, but definitely not all the way there. I mean, just over the years, I would say you look back 15 years ago, playing with pace, shooting the three, just playing with prioritizing spacing and not like running offense. Man, 15 years ago, that was like really, really cutting edge, at least in the basketball circles I was in. I remember calling a friend of mine and saying, you know what, man, we're just going to play really fast next year. Like I'm just going to really prioritize transition. I'm going to let it fly. We're going to shoot the three a lot and crash the boards hard. And he was like, why would you do that? And I was just like, I just believe it's the right way to play. I want to play that way. I think we can play that way and win that way. So I think it's been slow. More and more coaches obviously reach out to us to learn, how to play with pace on both ends, force pace defensively, play with pace offensively. So it's getting there. Obviously the NBA has fully embraced it. College basketball, I think it's got there. Even 5 years ago, I would say it wasn't there, but I think in the last 5 years it's gotten there. So it's coming to high school.
But by gotten there at the college level, what percent of college teams do you think play this way?
In college, to be honest, I don't watch a ton of college games, but just what I've seen of the tournament, what I've seen from highlights and stuff, it seems like it's just trending in that direction. And especially like at the high major schools with how many kids they're picking up from Europe. I mean, it's a free for all. If you want to get into the NIL stuff, they're bringing pros over to play in the States. And those kids, like over here in Spain, for example, they're playing with a 24-second shot clock from the time they're 14. And so, like, there's only one way to play, and you have to play fast. And then on top of that, if you look at like the top clubs here in Spain, so like Barca, Madrid, Valencia, Baskonia, what they instill in those kids from such a young age is like, get them up. Like, we want you attacking the basket. We want you being brave. We want you getting them up. And kid might miss 4, 5, 6 in a row, and they're just going to be like, keep shooting, keep shooting, keep shooting. So to bring this full circle to the college thing, they actually have a new league here in Spain called Liga U. It's under 22. I call it Liga You Can't Shoot because each team averages about like 50% of their shots are threes, and no team in the league shot above 30% this year. But that just shows you what they're doing, what they're training these kids for, because it's all the clubs that have these teams, is they're just like, we just want you to play this way because that's what's going to make you successful at the highest level. And so it's a farm league for that.
Man, so much gold in there that I think our listeners can dig into. I mean, be brave, get them up, shoot. Like just having that perspective and encouragement for all of our coaches that are coaching at the developmental level. Please embrace that. To just the impact of a 24-second shot clock on style of play. Continue to play FIBA 3-on-3 in your development. Continue to implement a shot clock. I would encourage a 24-second shot clock as early as possible in your practices, at least. I think great for development. And then I think, lastly, just the perspective of development all the way up to that 22-year-old, U22-year-old age that you're just suggesting, Mike. I mean, that is a huge shift in perspective. As you know, we have JV coaches like, I feel pressure to win. I feel pressure to win at the JV level, and I think that they could adopt all of that. It'd be a very powerful perspective. Mark, did you want to speak to the percentage at college, or should we move on from it?
Yeah, I'll just go real fast here. I would say more than half. And just Mike had said, it's getting there. It's trickling. Would definitely agree. I think if you rewind college basketball X amount of years, it was a lot of like, call the big up ball screen. That doesn't work. You got some lag. Now we're getting into another ball screen. Now I see like much better flow. So yes, like increasing pace and transition. I think coaches are understanding the value and getting out and getting the dominoes as quickly as possible, but also just far better pace, far better sequencing of action in the half court where it looks more like the pro game. One thing I always loved, or I still love seeing, is when college basketball, I feel like, was vastly behind the pro game, is whenever summer league would hit, to see players just like in a span of a few months just playing a completely different system. And I'm like, wow, like what if they were playing like this 3 months ago in like January and February on their college team? How much better would their team have been? So always a fun evolution, but I definitely think college is, if not there, definitely getting close to being there.
Beautiful. In the lock left defensively, our pattern is no help from the perimeter. That's our pattern. No help from the perimeter. We help at the rim. And even in that, there's specificity that a lot of coaches still are trying to wrap their minds around. It's like, oh, but help from the rim or from the wall, as we call it, or from the restricted area. Like, you want them to step up and stop penetration, like step up out of the restricted area. And I said, no, we don't. Because if we step up and stop penetration early, it makes them a passer, which creates an advantageous catch. Whereas if we allow that driver to attack the rim and then contest with verticality that shot at the rim, that's actually a great pattern for us. It's one that we train, it's one that we're good at. It keeps us out of rotation. And the points per possession of that no advantage or really small advantage contested shot at the rim, what we call a 5, is actually one of the best outcomes for us. So that's a pattern that is our pattern that we get really good at. Contest without fouling and don't allow them to play off the catch and make that pass.
All right, I'll go first. I will combine here. I'm probably going to contradict myself as I say this, so if I do, call me out on it. I actually think one of the things that will kill your defense is overhelping. So helping from the perimeter, not a fan of. Now, I'm interested to hear Mike and his perspective of playing professionally. He might be like, look, if you're not helping off like poor shooters in the program, you're doing it wrong. I don't know. But we did not help from the perimeter. We did not help from one pass away. We did not help ball side. All of our help came from the low man, or what we call the wall. And I think over helping on small advantage drives, yes, will kill your defense. I think that's what Tyler's saying. I guess the thing that I would combine, or would be more of a yes and, is if there's a drive that is going to end in a 9 or a big advantage shot, a shot that we're taking away, then I do want to commit to the ball, show chest, and force a pass, because if not, the possession is going to end with a shot that they want. So just wanted to add that context there.
So I got a couple different things here. The first one that came to my mind was something we call let 'em defense, where like even if it was the most talented guy on the other team, we knew like as soon as he started getting it going, it was like nobody else is going to touch the ball. The entire team is going to get killed. So it was just like, hey man, sorry you got to guard, super talented guy. You might get cooked today, but like we're just going to let him go. And we're just not going to let anybody else score. So, how many games where he scores 30 on 28 shots and like feels like he has a good game, but nobody else is in rhythm, nobody else touches the ball, nobody else does that. So it's like, for me, that's part of it. The other thing is just systemically having a clear set of rules on defense is so good as a player. Like that is what you need. And it's like, okay, in this situation, this is exactly what I need to do. And then there's always going to be those situations where it's just a decision. You just got to go make a play. You're going to get burned sometimes. You're going to get cooked sometimes. Maybe you are too aggressive on the rotation. You early help on the drive and they throw it to the corner. But I would rather like understand those decisions and like just fully commit to them and then just deal with the consequences later, rather than just kind of being this like doubtful, like, should I help? Should I not? And you just kind of end up standing there and, you're in the middle of nowhere and you're not defending anyone. So on some aspect, like, hey, have the system, great. On the other aspect, as a player, like, you got to go make plays. You got to go get the job done. Sometimes you just got to trust your gut, break the system, and try to go make a play.
Mike, give me an example of a player in the NBA right now that you would play let 'em defense on.
Oh, a player in the NBA who we can
And
play
why is
let him.
that player James Harden? No, I'm just kidding.
That was the first answer that came to my
Okay,
mind.
yeah.
I'm not even kidding. That was gonna be number one. But yeah, it's just whoever's gonna dribble the air out of the ball and like great, have a night, but no one else is gonna score. You feel good about yourself. Your teammates don't like you, and we're gonna win the game. So good for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, James Harden was number
I
one.
feel like I've got one that just leaps to my mind. Paulo Banchero. Like, I feel like he's a perfect example. He loves it, and he's not that efficient anyway. I feel like he would be a great one. I'd also feel okay going with Cade Cunningham as a let him go guy. And gosh, I had one more that leaps to mind as well. John Morant. I'd let him go too.
LaMelo?
Oh, absolutely. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a great one. I mean, but you know who I wouldn't? I wouldn't feel great about Anthony Edwards in that scenario. I just feel like he could actually
He's
win
got
the
that
game.
mentality.
He
He's just
does,
like,
right?
oh, you're gonna let me go? Good
Yeah,
luck.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna
I
go.
mean, you can't let Michael Jordan's son just go score. You know, I mean, it's not a good idea.
Okay, here's my last one. It's a rule of we're going to prioritize contesting passes. And, I've kind of used this analogy because I think players need to connect a learning or a rule or a principle, just something that they naturally feel. So I've started to use this of like, I want you to steal passes with the same excitement and enthusiasm that you want to block shots. I mean, players love blocking shots. I mean, they get so hyped up when they block a shot, right? And I don't see that same hype and desire and fervor around stealing a pass. And so I just try to connect it. I'm like, we don't want to block shots, actually. Instead, we want to go and steal passes.
Tyler, I've never thought about this until just now. Why don't we have more like excitement around stealing passes? Because a stolen pass leads to way more points per possession, if I had to guess, than a block shot would. Like most shots that are blocked go out of bounds.
I just want more pounded tests. Like, get that ish out of here when you steal a pass. I think that would be more exciting.
Yeah.
I have a question about this though. So like, do you encourage like lunging for a steal, and like what happens if they get burned? Like what's like kind of where's the balance there from a systemic standpoint?
Yeah, it's probably why it's number 5. It's probably the most audacious and anti-establishment of my rules for defense. Where's too much? I don't know, but I haven't found it yet. I like with all the teams that I work with, I have not been like, oh, you guys are too aggressive in the passing lanes. There is a point. Absolutely. I think we can all agree. And you lunging and like, we all grew up like, oh, don't gamble for the pass. Like, you know what I mean? You got burned, right? I haven't found that level yet with the team. I mean, found it in individual circumstances and individual players, but I haven't found that level yet with the team. I think they're too conservative. And so if we give up that, you get burned, you give up that advanced drive, it kind of gets us into our pattern and our pace and our spot and hopefully our shots as well, which is something contested at the rim or in the mid-range. So I don't know would be my answer, Mike. Is there a place? Yes. I just haven't seen it very much.
Well, the way I'm thinking about it too is like, okay, so I'm guarding a 4 or I'm guarding a 3. I'm guarding a perimeter player, not a really good ball handler. If I lunge for a pass, now he's got to go make a play. And is he 1 ready to do that, and 2, like how successful is he going to be with it? So it's like it makes sense.
Yeah.
I kind of buy what's going on.
And I would actually like trend away from lunging from a disadvantageous position into a pass. Rather set yourself, like gap, right? I don't really like my gap is more squeezing the ball and more in the passing lane so that you're not really moving from one spot to the other, but rather you're positioning yourself to steal a pass early. Right. And in this, like, I feel like traditional deny, as Mark described it, it discourages a pass, but it doesn't set you up to steal a pass. Whereas I want us to actually be a step closer to the ball and a step higher in the lane to where we're already in position to steal a pass, as traditional gap defense is already in position to help on a drive. That's kind of how I would teach it.
It's interesting because like the best teams that I've played against, who like the best defensive teams, they always tend to pressure early, contain in the middle of possession, and then sell out or like just try to make plays at the end of the possession to make it tough for us. So 24-second shot clock, first 8-10 seconds, they're trying to delay your first action, trying to get you out of your stuff. And then they almost like switch. So it's like, okay, like let's back off, let's do this, let's force you into like some sort of high pick and roll or ISO situation. And then we really only have to defend one action in the final 7 seconds of the shot clock, and we'll just trust ourselves to make a play out of it. And I don't
That's
know,
good.
like
Yeah.
having been in those situations too, like more high pressure teams, they don't really like teach it that way. It just sort of naturally happens.
You just helped me update my beliefs with this, because I agree with that, but I haven't actually taught that framework before. But that's exactly what we are trying to do in the loft left. We want to lock the ball early ball pressure. They do this great in Europe. Early ball pressure to do exactly what you said, to lay the action, steal the vision of the ball handler so you can't get transition. Then we do actually, as the ball handlers coming across half, we actually do kind of we call it squeezing the ball. We do kind of contain in the middle there. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to contain the ball and funnel it to jail, to one side of the floor, the left side of the floor, right? And then once we get the ball to jail, our overload, which should happen the last 8 to 10 seconds of the possession, our overload is we sell out now. We've overloaded one side of the floor. We're hunting all those passes. We're trying to make the ball go and run them into the wall. So yeah, that really helped me. So thank you. Sorry to cut you off, Mark. I just need to articulate that so that I can teach it in the future.
My question, although you kind of answered it by talking through lock left, because that does make sense to me, is what I heard Mike say was like they're aggressive early, disrupt their first action, don't let them flow in the offense, then keep it out of the paint, right? When they're trying to get to like their next sequence or next like phase of actions. And then late, maybe you're like switching everything in the last, shot clock bend. My question for Mike was going to be, can you do that at lower levels? Like, is that like really advanced in your opinion, of like attacking to more like gap, keep everything front, and then maybe back to like some special coverage in the last 10 or something like that?
See, this is what was going through my mind, because I think it's the 24-second shot clock that is like it's the sixth defender. So if you don't have that, if you're coaching a team at a younger level and it's just like we're gonna pressure, I think that is way easier to teach and to start with. And then like in certain situations, in big games, like let's pull the reins back a little bit in certain situations because that's easier. But I think to have that mentality to like go, go, go at the beginning, especially early in the season, and then kind of find that groove with your personnel, with your team, of like where you can be a little bit more conservative. I think that makes a lot more sense from a teaching perspective. If you're like, hey, I'm just going to teach this, like we're going to pressure, now we're going to chill, and then we're going to go crazy at the end of the shot clock. I think that's way too much to try to teach the average player, and they're really going to like conceptually understand it.
Let me ask you this, Mike. How much of defensive philosophies, let's say it's a spectrum, it's a pro level over in Europe. Let's say it's a spectrum. From one end of the spectrum, a coach has a defense that they have mastered and teach are known for. Okay, it's a coach philosophy. It's a system. Then at the other end is, what personnel do we have? What are they good at? What can't they do? And that determines our system. What would you say is more common in overseas game? Is it the system is determined by the coach and their preferences, or is it determined by the personnel? What's been your observation?
My observation is each coach has a reason like why they made it to that level. So like they have a system, they have an approach, they have a way to get a group of guys to do the same thing on the basketball floor. And then within that, of course, injuries, new signings, whoever's coming in. Like if you got a guy who's really versatile who can defend 1 through 4, it's like, hey, we're just going to switch because it just makes sense. So they have an established system, they have their bread and butter, and then they are knowledgeable enough and they know personnel and they know their people enough to kind of like move the chess pieces, so to speak. That's
I,
been
I
my
think
experience.
I think that is the art of coaching. And I think that is a great lesson for all coaches is your philosophy can like stay the same, but how you get there can be a little different. So if your philosophy is like we talked about with through these our shots in lock left is we are giving these shots up and we're taking these shots away. Well, there's like 3 or 4, maybe even more different ways that you can take away these shots. And there's 3 or 4 ways that you can give these shots up if we have a really versatile 4 or versatile 5 where we can switch everything. It's just another way to get your philosophy done, right?
Yeah, and the way the game is going over here, like they really want teams want 2 dudes that can handle it, that can create, and then 2 other dudes that space the floor and can defend everybody, and then a center. That's it.
Okay, just because I am fascinated and a little bit fanboying about your intimate knowledge of the pro game over there, let me ask this. What do most teams hunt offensively more? Do they like hunt down mismatches and just try to like punish a mismatch? Or do they hunt like their sets and their actions? Or maybe both? Like, what do you see?
So here's kind of been the trend lately. So it used to be we're running the stagger, we're running the zipper, we're running an Iverson, and then we got different reads out of that. And that came like so predictable. Some teams still do it, but all they did is now they throw a handoff in there. Now they throw some type of like misdirection to try to disguise the ball screen. That has kind of been the trend, especially like I'm thinking Bilbao. They won the FIBA Europe Cup doing a ton of that. Their assistant coach, who is now a head coach in the second division, like they're doing a ton of that. And I just see that sort of trend of like, let's disguise this stuff, but like get more movement, get more this, rather than like, oh, we switch early, like now let's specifically hunt this mismatch. Like the hunting of mismatches is pretty much solely for the last 5 minutes of the game, perimeter player versus big with the ball on the perimeter.
Mike, whenever you say disguise, it's basically just like don't tee it up for the defense so they can't get in the coverage as easy. But is it also let's manipulate the tag
Yep.
or let's put this certain player as the tag defender and get our guys in our spots. So then when we do get them in the coverage, we know we have our shooter in the corner. We have this, sequence that we can flow into.
It's really a lot to screw up the tag. Like they'll switch the shooters on the weak side. They'll run, exchange guys on the weak side. And then up top too, it's just like it's the whole ghost screen game. Basically, it's like if it's a guard to guard handoff or if it's a ghost screen, are you going to switch or not? And then from there, it's like we got a follow up screen and we got something else happening on the weak side, maybe. And we are going to read the defense and we're going to get our guys going downhill with speed and good luck.
Okay, we're already trending this way. We're getting into the offensive questions, and so let me do this. We're gonna end this episode here as part one, and come back next week as we dive in to the same rules for coaching, but on the offensive side, and get Mike's insight. Before we go, we're just pumped to have Mike taking over as director of player development and owning our player community. All of these things that we're talking about, I really think this is what keeps players from achieving their highest level goals in basketball. You can have 2 players that have the same skill set, but if one player has been educated on how to apply that skill set in their team framework through the study of film, they're going to be more successful. They're going to have more trust of their coach. And most players, as Mike's experienced, they don't learn how to do that until too late, till they're already pros. Like, think about the head start you can give players if they're able to learn to fighter skill sets within the framework of the team system. So if you have a player with high aspirations to play at the next level, that next level might be starting on varsity. That next level might be getting a scholarship to play in college. That next level might be playing professionally. Our player community is where you should send them. And Mike is going to be building out so many things from player mentorship to film study to challenges, where this is where serious players that have high aspirations to go to get better. Go check it out. The link's in the description. Final closing thought before we stay savvy. We'll go Mark, then Mike.
A closing thought. It was awesome just to hear Mike's perspective from playing in overseas, from his experience with working with pros, being a pro. I'm just really excited to learn from Mike. This was awesome. This was energizing for me to be able to talk some hoops and get an outside perspective.
Yeah, he was tired of talking to me, Mike. So I'm glad you're here to energize Mark.
Hey, this was a good a good introduction to the community, and just so everybody knows, like, this is what I love to do, this is what I've done, this is what I've chased for the past couple years, and like to have this opportunity to join up with Savi and really build something that's special for players to come and learn. I want to make a fantastic resource that they can come in, find the information that they need, and then go perform on the court. That is my entire objective, my entire goal, and we are working very hard to make that happen.
Beautiful.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. Till next time, stay savvy.
Stay savvy.